love. Hello and welcome to Ozsports FM's podcast. Now, my name is Vladimir. For the listeners out there, you can call me Vlad. And this is our first podcast here. And my co-host, Travis, welcome aboard.
G'day, Vlad. Good to be here. You're really looking forward to talking some sport with everyone.
Definitely. So, to give you the listeners out there a bit of an idea of what we're going to bring is, all the aspects of sport locally, around the world, Australia, a bit of flavour from all parts of the globe.
Yeah, we're not going to be really limited, are we? We're going to talk everything from baseball and basketball and soccer and footy and cricket, anything in between. It's, I know hold bars for the program.
Yeah, coming live, obviously, from the city of Adelaide, the
beautiful city of Adelaide.
City of churches, as some would say, here in South Australia. So, we endeavour to obviously bring you all the results. Well, not all the results, but as many as we can, and then, a bit of commentary. I think.
We'll give some expert opinion on everything, won't we?
Yes, as we are experts, Travis and I, on all the sports of the world. So it's going to be interesting. Now, since it's our first show for all the listeners out there, and it's been a crazy 2-3 months over the Christmas. Plenty happening now. We're going to do a bit of a recap for everyone. So let's, kick it off with the Australian Open.
Yeah, let's talk some tennis.
Talk some tennis. Now, obviously, my main man, Novak Djokovic, was in the men's final against Scottish.
Was he really there, though? He was cramping, he was carrying on, there was all sorts of shenanigans going.
He was there. He definitely was there. Now, for a few games or close to a set, he was falling apart like he was.
He couldn't walk. Yeah, he was
all over the place. Fears, I think. But look, he did defeat Andy Murray 7-6, 6-7, 6-3, 6-love. Now, it was a massive match because I think the first couple of sets went for well over 2 hours.
No, they were epic, weren't they? It was almost like watching a match within those first 2 sets. Like you couldn't see who was going to sort of assert the dominance on the game. And it really was a big struggle initially.
I was tired watching the match. That's how long he went for. But Djokovic, yeah, look, it was a close first 2 sets. He did fall away a little bit when he lost that second set, and he did look like he was cramping up, and he didn't know what to make of it. Really watching.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, you obviously read the media reports and things afterwards, and then there was a whole issue, particularly in the British press, about him boxing, and there was maybe a bit of gamesmanship. But I just remember watching it live, and I really thought he was in trouble. There were just points he'd hit the ball, and he always fell over. I'm not sure.
He was falling over.
Yeah, and I don't know that you can act that. I think it's something that if you're genuinely struggling, well, it's a reaction that you have.
Well, that's right. I think apparently it happened in the Del Potro match a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the location now, but and he said that in an interview as well that that same thing occurred and then he overcame it. So he had that experience.
Yeah, it was sick, wasn't he? He played a tournament in the Middle East, I think, in the lead up to the Australian Open. He struggled over there. So, I think everything points to him actually feeling that way. I don't think it was something that was put on. I think it was brewing.
Yeah, exactly. And, he won his 5th Australian Open, which is a
massive effort.
Equal record now, and fantastic. I mean, hopefully he can continue the season and hopefully get the French, which is a real key. And Nadal obviously went down.
What happened with Nadal? Just on something different. I mean, he struggled for the past sort of 12 months, hasn't he, with injury? Has he lost his spot at the top of the...
Well, the way his body reacts to the way he plays it's a full-on style. So I think his body can't really handle it anymore. I think he is breaking down as the years go by. I mean, look, he's, you've got Federer and Nadal as probably the 2 mega champions of the tennis world. Some say actually Nadal, if he wasn't injured, would be better than Federer. I mean, that's an argument in itself.
Yeah.
I think my opinion, looking at it, I think the way Nadal's playing is just his body can't take it anymore. It's that hard.
He does show a lot of stress on his body, doesn't he?
Especially that one arm. You see how big that one arm is. It's an incredible hole.
Yeah, it's twice the size of his right arm. It's really awkward to look at.
It'd be awkward to put on those shirts as well. And say, I don't know how you go shopping with one arm, maybe on the other. But look, Djokovic, I'd give it to him. He's a champion of the Australian Open 5 times. He is number 1 in the world. I think he's won over $72 million in prize money by playing tennis.
He's not going to go hungry anytime soon.
No, definitely not. So, look, hopefully he has a great season, and we'll obviously keep you up to date with all the results through those Grand Slams throughout the year as well. And while I was watching that match, obviously you watched the match the day before with women's finals.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. Yeah, I was thinking there was a bit happening on that Saturday night, but did manage to catch a bit of Williams and Sharapova. And again, that's another rivalry. There's a fair bit of bad blood between the two of them, over the course of the years. I suppose Williams, the veteran, been around for forever years, but she's been around a long time.
She's won around for a very long time, and she won 6-3, 7-6 against Sharapova, and that was her 6th title.
Yeah, it was. And look, the first set, as the scoreline indicates, was pretty one way. Williams came out all guns blazing and really asserted her dominance quite early on in the match. The second was obviously a bit more of a struggle. Sharapova really got herself back into the match, and Williams again was another, like Djokovic, she was under a bit of a cloud with illness. She had the flu leading into the match, and Sharapova, I suppose, once she warmed up, really had the opportunity to take it into a third set. If they had gone into a third set, well, Williams may not have been the champion, but she is the champion, and
6 times.
Yeah, she's 6 times. A really good match. She displayed great composure in that second set, serving a let on match point after serving an ace, and then having to re-serve and hitting another ace to win the championship. She really proved that she is the queen of women's tennis.
She is. I mean, now that her sister Venus is slowly, out of the picture.
Yeah, I think she's on the decline and probably well past her best.
Yeah, well, definitely. I'd say she won a lot of titles early on, so there's no questions of her just being a champion. But definitely on the way out, I think. And I mean, one thing that I really hate about women's tennis is the prize money trucks. I mean, seriously, they don't play 5-set matches. They get paid equal to the men. Now, I'm just saying from my point of view is that, well, if the men are going to have to win 3 sets, I think women should win 3 sets too.
Look, I agree with you, absolutely. I think, and we're all about gender equality and everything. We're certainly not saying, anything otherwise. But if you look at the length of the matches on the men's side to the length in the women's side and the physicality of both games, there is a disparity between them. The prize money being equal, I don't agree with that being the case. I think we've missed the mark there.
I think we definitely missed the mark. I think the Australian Open is an unbelievable event.
Fantastic event.
I've been there twice in the past, thankfully, and I can't say enough positive things about the event. And it's getting bigger and bigger, and the prize money is getting more and more each year. Which, look, at the end of the day, if they want to give these players the money, then by all means, I think Djokovic got $3 million for the win.
It's a lot of money.
Not bad for 2 weeks worth.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
I wish I got $3 million for 2 weeks worth. That ain't going to happen anytime fast. So, but look, it's a fantastic event. Great, worthy champions in Djokovic and Williams. Absolutely. And good luck to them both for the rest of the season. Now let's sidetrack now.
Let's
get off tennis. There's Asian Cup final. Ladies and gentlemen, Australia have won a cup in the world game of soccer or football.
Did we ever think we'd see the day when Australia would win a tournament of this level?
I think this was one we were always going to prepare for, I believe. Losing in the final 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But, being the host nation this time around in front of, capacity crowd at Stadium Australia in Sydney, and 2-1 victory over Korea in extra time, which, let me tell you, I watched that game and I was at the edge of my seat, literally. But
how bad was it? South Korea scoring in injury time in the first half.
In the second half, in Travis, though. In the last few
there was a build-up to it.
There was a massive build-up to it. I said to my mate, we're watching it at the pub, and I said, look, 15 minutes to go, we're 1-0 down, they're going to score. And on the whole, they did.
They did. But, I mean, you talk about, great champions, and the Australian team, during the Asian Cup were just fantastic. And everyone talks about Tim Cahill, and he's obviously a legend, but what about the performances of some of those lesser lights? You you talk about Luongo, the player of the tournament, Matty Ryan. I mean, it was just fantastic to watch.
And Luongo's missile strike to open it, it was just before half time, and that's like a killer punch in a way as well, because you don't want to go into half time 1-0 down.
Yeah, it takes some momentum in there, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Korea would have been out of sorts.
Yeah.
And then obviously James Troyce's netted the winner in time.
Yeah, he was just so determined to get that ball, put it in the back of the net, wasn't he? He just charged it.
The right moment, right time was I mean, look, it could be bad defending as well by Korea.
Yeah.
Look, it was an interesting game. I mean, thankfully we got the victory in the end. I think if they had lost a second Asian Cup final, especially being at home, look, I think it would have been disastrous for the team. And and I mean,
you talk about confidence, it would have really dented, wouldn't it? And I wonder, let's just say Australia have lost, and we're talking hypotheticals, but would that have changed the plan of Ange Postecoglou, do you think? Because the whole planning, everything he's done since he's taken over was all geared towards this Asian Cup, playing the younger players, bringing them through.
Well, they had faith in him. They gave him a little bit of faith, and they said, he said to them, to obviously the FFA, he said, look, this is the way I'm going to structure the team and build up these young players. I mean, that's what we really need to do. So I think he stuck to his structure in terms of the games that he played, home and away.
Yeah.
And look, we won a cup. First cup ever.
Right.
It's an Asian Cup. I think we deserve to be in that Asian Cup as well. I had a conversation with someone saying we really shouldn't be because we're not really an Asian country. Well, we're part of Australasia. We're too strong for Oceania.
Well, we've outgrown Oceania, and we outgrew that 8 or 10 years ago. And I don't think you can doubt that, and nothing against the teams in that region, but we just have outgrown it. We're simply too good for it at the moment, and we need to be playing in Asia.
Fingers crossed that it's onwards and upwards for the game, and we're going to obviously talk about Adelaide United over the weekend. Losing 2-1 to Central Coast.
Again, shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, terrible result really away. I mean, look, there was a penalty there. It was handball. It was clear as day, but at least get 1-1 draw out of it. Losing 2-1 to them is really not a good result, and that's putting it really lightly. But Laville converted obviously the first goal for us in the 29th minute.
How long do you think Laville is going to be playing for Adelaide United? He had a trial.
Not long.
Didn't he? Over the Christmas break.
He's he has to be on the way out soon. Within 12 months, or if not soon. I mean, he's fantastic. I love watching him play. Look, there's so much a bit of excitement. He's young. He's got a lot to learn, but I don't think he's going to hang around too much longer.
No, he's got that talent. He's got what seems to be the sort of qualities everyone's looking for now in a player. He's quick. He tacks off the dribble. His finishing obviously needs a bit of work, but as you say, he's young. He's got the endeavour. I don't think he'll be in.
This has to be our year, Adelaide United. If they can't win it this year, then I don't think they're ever going to win it, to be honest, Travis.
Yeah.
The way we've gone in the past, I mean, we won the first.
We won the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that was a fantastic result, and thankfully, thank God we did that. But I think definitely this year, the way they've been playing, apart from the result of the weekend, of course, let's not forget about that really quickly.
Yeah.
Gone for the memory erase, it's gone. But I think this has to be the year. So hopefully next few weeks will be interesting. So we'll keep you up to date with that. But Adelaide United coming up in July.
Big game for Adelaide United in July. They take on the mighty Liverpool Football Club, of course. One of the biggest clubs in Europe. They're coming to Adelaide. Yes, well, I didn't want to be too biased here on our first program. We may alienate all those Manchester United and Chelsea fans listeners.
Who? Oh, I don't know about them.
There's some other teams who play in the same competition. But how good is it for Australia to get Liverpool back? They played in Melbourne 2 years ago, and I know we're talking off air. We're both lucky enough to be at that game, and now Liverpool coming to Adelaide and Brisbane. It's a really good endorsement for Australian football.
It's fantastic. Obviously Adelaide Oval being all redeveloped and brand new, and the excitement and buzz around it. Obviously this past AFL season, and now July 20th is the date, Monday night, that Adelaide United will take on Liverpool.
A big weekend, because that date is the day after the showdown. So a big couple of days.
Will we be here reporting? I don't know. We could go MIA on those 48 hours.
Yeah, we may not be here.
Reporting on a showdown. Looking forward to that match. Looking forward to the season. But look, massive result, and they're playing in Brisbane as well. So, to have a world-class club like Liverpool, not being biased, of course, but to play in Adelaide against Adelaide United is fantastic. That will sell out really quickly.
If you want to get your quick tickets really quick for that,
that's going to go on sale in the next few weeks, I believe. Some tickets I think are already on sale, hospitality ones. So, but look. Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait. There's going to be about 53,000 strong there, Liverpool supporters.
Standing room only, I think, at Adelaide Oval.
Just imagine the song. I was there in Melbourne and hearing that song, 100,000 people. Yeah. But I think it's going to be even louder here in Adelaide, the way the Oval's big.
The way the stadium and going to the footy last year, just the sound and the way it amplifies in Adelaide Oval, it will be louder, I think, than Melbourne. Melbourne was pretty special, but we're talking up Adelaide here and our ability to get behind and actually sing the song. But I think it will be loud. It's going to be one of those things that if you are fortunate enough to go to the game, you will remember for a long, long time.
And obviously our favourite son of Liverpool, Steven Gerrard, won't be here. So he's going to LA to join the Galaxy, which a la David Beckham style. But I've already seen a Guernsey online for Gerrard wearing number 8, of course. So
he's a big loss for Liverpool though, and he's been around. Played for Liverpool his whole career. Captain of Liverpool. Was the captain of England at the last World Cup. He leaves big shoes to fill.
Yeah, just I wish we couldn't have the title last year, but.
We could probably spend an hour talking about that.
Yeah, let's not, so we don't alienate all those Chelsea Man United supporters that are listening there. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Now, just obviously another major event that happened worldwide, the NFL Super Bowl. Now, the New England Patriots, after being 10 points down, they defeated Seattle Seahawks 28-24. Now, I watched that match. Call the match the game. Fantastic. Seriously, it came down to the last minute where pretty much Malcolm Butler from New England intercepted Russell Wilson, who's the quarterback for Seattle, for the pass, and pretty much won the game. Seattle were on the verge of winning the Super Bowl. They were like 1-2 yards away, and they had about 3 or 4 goes left.
Yeah, they had a couple of downs left, didn't they?
Yeah. And I guess the premise in the report is that Russell Wilson pretty much said, look, we knew we had a few chances, so the thoughts of giving to Marshall Lynch, who's been massive running back who just destroys people in his path.
Well, that's where he does his best work, isn't it?
He's runs over people. That's what he does. He runs over people literally, and he just drags them along with him. They went for the pass instead, but you know what? That just cost them the Super Bowl.
It's a big play in a big moment to get wrong. mean, I don't know, we're taught as sports people, aren't we? You know, you have your bread and butter stuff, you have your go-to, you know. And I would have thought, and you know, we're outsiders, we're far from experts with the NFL, but if you've got Marshawn Lynch there, and he's a running back, and that's what he does.
And he's the best running back in the NFL, who's a monster player.
You give him a chance.
Well, you give him 3, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't just give him 2 or 1. So I think they really stuffed it up. And looking at the face of Tom Brady as a quarterback of New England, I mean, absolutely shocked. And Seattle players on the bench showing footage, they were shocked as well. I mean, the commentators didn't know what was going on. They were like, you've got to be kidding me. This is not just...
I think everyone bar the Seattle coaching staff knew what should have happened.
Yeah, look, it's a little bit crazy. So, but look, that's the NFL Super Bowl, and you know the Super Bowl is always notorious for their great halftime shows as well. Katy Perry looking mighty fine as well, mind you. Not that I've seen her live in concert.
Was she there on an inflatable line or something?
Yes, she was. Well, not really inflatable. It was sort of Megatronic, whatever you want to call it. So it looks like there was a few people, you know, holding her up there. But look, fantastic show. I mean, you know, that comes down to when you look at our AFL Grand Final and entertainment and stuff. America and Australia are 2 different scales. Yeah,
we are. Well, you know, Americans do things big and grand, but yeah, we're still probably a little bit behind here in Australia. Do we do it right?
Well, we're still getting over meatloaf. We're still getting over meatloaf.
And I was fortunate enough to be at that grand final when Meatloaf was singing.
Fortunate? Or unfortunate?
No, fortunately, no, because as you'll probably learn, you know, as we go along with these podcasts, big Geelong fan here, so it was a really good day for me to be at a grand final. But the limelight was absolutely Meatloaf. It was atrocious.
Yeah. Well, we'll cut to a break and we'll be back with more.
Every choice you make has a huge impact.
You've got to make the right decisions. If you want to be a game changer,
you can't afford to take unnecessary risks or rush into something that you might regret.
Whether you're in heavy traffic
or you've got room to move,
you still have to be in complete control.
Just one decision, one small thing,
one lapse in concentration,
and your whole world could change.
If you can run,
you can run.
If you can kick,
you can kick.
If you can score,
you can score.
Whether a person is gay or straight
shouldn't matter in sport.
Ability, attitude,
and effort is what counts.
If you can play,
you can play.
If you can play,
you can play.
If you can play,
you can play.
Welcome back. Now, over the weekend, the Adelaide White unfortunately lost to the Perth Heat in the grand final. It was 2-1. Now, the first game was a 3-2 victory for the Adelaide White.
Close game.
Very close game. And then they lost 5-3 in the second.
That one went into extra innings, a 10th inning there for that game.
And I don't know what happened in the third. That was 12-5. Got actually destroyed by the Heat. But here's a couple grabs from the league CEO and the coaches.
The alcohol think again, Perth Heat. What you have accomplished is truly special. The core of this team will go down in history as one of the greatest generations in Australian baseball. Thank you.
A pretty good year for the Adelaide Bite. There's still a lot to be proud of with this team, isn't there?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to tip the cap to the Perth Heat. They're the better club today, and congratulations, fellas. Good win. I'm incredibly proud of this group over here. I felt like we had a quality team all season, and we proved it on the field, and we gave ourselves an opportunity to do something special. So I appreciate everybody in that white uniform over there, and I can't wait to see what these guys do going forward. Thanks, fellas.
4 out of 5 now. What a team.
Oh, it's been incredible. It's been an incredible run. I mean, these guys have won, 6 now in the last 7-8 years, and I just got to give it to them. What a great group of guys, and we're just a big, happy family.
You lost game number 1, but the self-belief that was surrounding your team was just absolutely sensational. We know you know how to win, but you must have instilled that belief in them as well going into game 2 and then game 3.
Well, there's 27 guys out here, a staff of 27 that instills that belief in everyone. So it's not just me. It's the way every single one of these guys goes about their business.
They talk about the dynasty. I mean, we have a fantastic team here. There seems like there's about 25 million Kennellys out there. There's probably more to come through as well. The dynasty doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon.
We've got a great group of young guys. We've got a bunch of guys playing college baseball and some young signs on the way. And, our 14s and 16s and 18s have been phenomenal over the course of the last few years.
Good to hear there from Tim Kennelly, the manager of the Perth Heat, sorry. I'm a bit confused with we're talking bites and heats. They've got odd names in baseball.
They do, actually.
But Tim Kennelly, the 4th championship in 5 years for the Perth Heat, a fantastic effort. It doesn't matter, what sport you're in, whether it's baseball, footy or soccer, to be at the top over an extended period of time, 5 years is a long time. It's a great achievement.
That's a dynasty, or was it Americans say dynasty? That's fantastic. 4 out of 5. It's pretty crazy, considering that they've been on a bit of a drought since 1980.
Yeah, a long time.
I was born in 81. That's a long time.
Well, I was in 82, so
there you go.
Neither of us were around.
Far out. But look, unfortunately, they were there in the grand final, so it's better than being in the grand final than not being there.
Well, it's better than the year they had last year. They only won 21 games, I think, last year. They didn't even make the playoffs. 32 this year. They finished the season 4 games on top after the regular season, hosting the grand final. I don't know, you'd still call it a success, wouldn't you?
Yeah, onwards and upwards, I think, for that they buy, and we'll definitely bring, in the time ahead, more details, and obviously maybe for next season. So now this weekend is the World Cup.
The World Cup?
Well, not the World Cup of soccer, but the World Cup of cricket.
Have you heard about the World Cup of cricket? It's been a very low-key leading, hasn't it?
It has, actually, considering that Australia actually played a match yesterday at the Adelaide Oval.
They did, yeah. Was that broadcast anyway?
No, it wasn't, actually. Interesting. Well done, Cricket Australia. Well done. There was about 20,000 people apparently there at the Adelaide Oval. But look, it does start this weekend, and Adelaide's hosting no Australia games during the round robin all fixtures. So only if they get to the quarterfinal, I believe.
Yeah, if they make the quarterfinals, and let's be honest, they certainly should. They will play a quarterfinal here in Adelaide, but they do kick off the tournament next Saturday in Melbourne at the MCG against England, the old enemy. I think it's a game we should win. We've had the ball over England in this tri-series, which was just completed as a warm-up for the World Cup. So you expect Australia to win that first game, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd hope so. I'm hoping they actually win the World Cup, and I think they are playing relatively okay. Who knows what's going to happen with the captaincy and Michael Clark, but I think he should just be put back in if he's healthy enough, and that's it. Don't worry about anyone else. Let's not.
Well, he's the captain, isn't he? And if he's your captain, he's the best player. He has to come in.
It's just simple, there's no question about it. And but Adelaide is hosting a match which is India v Pakistan Sunday. Now that's a massive match. That is epic.
Well, big subcontinent rivals, aren't they?
Epic match. So that's going to be an absolute cracker. I don't think I've got a ticket that one. I think it's sold out, I believe. But
you'd expect a pretty good following from those two sides. They generally have a lot of support here in Australia. So it'd be good to see Adelaide Oval buzzing on Sunday.
Oh, look, yeah, definitely. So, look, fingers crossed. We'll keep you obviously up to date with all the results that come throughout the World Cup. So, look, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be...
Well, there's a big tournament, Australia and New Zealand hosting it. So we're not confined just...
we're hosting everything at the moment, isn't it?
It's
Asian Cup, World Cup cricket.
Well, now we've just got to get the Olympics back, and then we can maybe have the World Cup.
Soccer. That great $50 million bid for that.
Yeah.
So one project for us. Fantastic.
Well, there's another whole myriad of issues we can talk about around World Cup bidding.
We won't get into that right now, fellas, I think.
No, it's not. But, all right, do you think Australia are going to win the World Cup? Well, I'd like to see them win. I think South Africa, for me, are probably the team to beat.
Well, look, I didn't follow the cricket as closely this summer. Obviously, I will with the World Cup, but leading up to it, I've been to a few, I went to the test match where Mitchell took about 7 wickets. That was fantastic on a Saturday afternoon. But look, I'm not sure. I mean, what about Sri Lanka and New Zealand? Do they have any hope?
Well, I think they do. New Zealand, as I said before, I don't know if I did say, but New Zealand don't leave New Zealand until potentially the semi-final. So a massive advantage for them.
Well,
they play Australia in New Zealand.
Well, they've got Sri Lanka as their first match on Saturday. So, look, we'll definitely keep you up to date, all the listeners, with all the goings. Obviously, it's just beginning. We want to obviously, it will give everyone a heads up to be aware that it is starting this weekend. It's going to be a crack of a tournament. Fingers crossed we can get the trophy.
Hopefully we can. And maybe we can get a couple of those players who are injured back. Clark's one, Faulkner's another. So a couple of key players to come back into the Australian side at some point throughout the tournament if they are fit. So we have 25 hours.
Steve Smith has done a really good job on those matches, hasn't he?
Well, does Steve Smith stay as captain and then Clark comes back as a vice captain? Well, or maybe not even a vice captain. Maybe he's just there, as a player. Maybe that releases some stress on him. Maybe then the injuries, the problems he's had. Maybe they help that process in terms of getting him back healthy. But I think personally, I'm one that if he's fit enough to play, he's your captain, and he does that until he retires. Either way, look, Steve Smith will get a pretty good apprenticeship.
Oh yeah, he's done a great job, and obviously, over the summer, I guess this is as a recap show. We're just touching on that a little bit lightly. Is obviously Philip Hughes and the tragic accident that happened over the last few months, and that's that was a sad moment for obviously Australian sport, Australian cricket, Australian cricket all over the world.
Well, it affected everyone in Australia, didn't it?
Yeah, a freak accident.
Yeah,
and freak accident. Look, there's nothing really much you can say. It's just one of those things that happened, and I think that's probably made the Australian team a lot stronger since that. And but yeah, we just wanted to touch upon that because obviously that was a massive moment.
It's probably not a side note, but the performance probably since then of Sean Abbott, it probably a really obviously heartbreaking thing for any of those guys around on the field. Sean Abbott, being the bowler at the time, but he did pick up the Young Cricketer of the Year award at the recent
Yes, he did actually.
Australia award ceremony at the Unawarded Medal. So a really good story. If Sean Abbott out of all this, obviously it's very sad what happened to Phil Hughes, but
maybe we'll stir him on for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Talk to him. So now we're going to obviously wrap it up shortly, but on a bit of a lighter note, I understand you're telling me off air you're a bit of a Chicago Bulls fan.
I am a Bulls fan from a long time back when his Annis was running around all doing his thing. Undoubtedly the greatest basketballer I think to play the game.
Probably is, but there's a massive argument out there in the basketball world. Now I was lucky enough last night to go see Dennis Rodman. He was in town here in the city of Churches doing a speaking tour.
And he might not, Dennis Rodman, he's obviously a very good basketballer.
One of the greats, 5 championships.
Yeah, but some of his off-the-court activities are quite famous.
Oh, well, which one? Carmen Electra or Madonna?
Well, there's two.
There's two. Wearing a wedding dress, one of his book signings. Went last night, had lucky enough to have a VIP meet and greet with the man, and had Steve Carfino was doing the interviewing, or I guess just running the show, I guess, running Dennis, make sure he's...
Was he on time? Was he tardy? All these things we expect from these superstars?
No, he was on time. It was wow. I mean, what a life. I mean, he spoke things about Madonna and Carmen Electra, talked about Detroit Pistons, his time in San Antonio, being traded to the Chicago Bulls for Will Perdue, who is, exactly.
He was a backup journeyman centre. Well, not a journeyman, but he was a backup centre.
Correct. Yeah. Nobody. Where is he now? We don't even know. But Dennis Rodman was in the city of Churches. Now, I mean, look, we did touch upon North Korea. That was off limits, but there is apparently a doco coming out. Look, he talked about his upbringing, in playing in Oklahoma, living there with a white family back then, and because it was, back then the tensions were high, and he couldn't walk around the street, so he really got emotional talking about that. And, didn't really have a father figure, so he touched upon about, how his father, I guess he came across him many years later at a game, and
isn't it funny? I mean, it's not funny, but these athletes who, and I suppose a lot, there's a few in America who grow up without that family support, or then natural parents, and they make it to that point, and all of a sudden, well, here comes Dad out of the woodwork.
Well, yeah, he was making money on. He wrote a book about his time with Dennis, and Dennis said last night, he goes, well, he never spent any time with me, and then his dad ended up going to the Philippines and having 8 wives and 49 children. So think about that, and Dennis touched upon that, and meeting a brother that 6'10", who's half Filipino and half African American, and he talked about how he'd killed himself. I mean, he touched upon a lot of topics last night.
There was nothing.
No, this was uncensored, very uncensored. So no kids would have been present last night.
So
it
was an 18+ event.
Yes, definitely 18+. But look, it was. You could listen to the man all night. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just from basketball topics, talking about Greg Popovich and how he's the current coach of the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, and very successful.
Very successful. There's about 5 championships there, from memory. And, talking about Phil Jackson and Chuck Daly, who's obviously no longer with passed away a few years ago. He was the Detroit's championship winning coach while Dennis was there. So they're the 5 things that he touched upon in his life. But, he was a dominant player. He's one of the all-time rebound kings. He averaged close to, I think he averaged in college around about 25 points, 15 rebounds per game. So he was a scorer early on.
Yeah. Well, you talk about a player then who sacrificed, didn't he? I mean, he's one of those players who I think you classify as a real team player on the floor. Realised there wasn't a place for him as a scorer, and then the best way for him to assist and make his team better was for him to rebound and play defence at a time when it was unfashionable.
Exactly right, Travis. He did his role, and that's what he said. He went out there, he didn't care if it was a crap team or a successful team. He went out there, played defence, grabbed the boards. He did his role. He did his part for the team. And, he said his first championship with the Bulls was the most memorable one out of all of them. And I think that's when they won about 72 games. Yeah. 72 games. And, they probably won more than that. That's in the regular season.
Yeah.
Come playoff time, it's another 19 games. He was saying for about 9-10 months, including pre-season, they were playing for like 9 months, 10 months.
It's a long season. I imagine it's a grind for them. They're obviously well paid. But
well paid. I don't know if he's well paid now. He's speaking to it, but good luck to him. And but the thing is that you touched upon about being hungover and going to practice and this and that. I mean, I don't even know where to start, and it's not going to do any justice me relaying the information to our listeners. But these are some of the topics that were touched upon. Definitely, playing at the Vegas table and getting called by Madonna to fly over to New York because I'm ready, waiting for you. Wink. Yes, he did. He left $100,000 on the table and flew over in a private plane, did his business and came back 11 hours later.
It's not a short flight to New York, so it's
5-6 hours. I've done it before, so look, she was ready and waiting, and he delivered. So
and I suppose it's hard. Well, I assume it's a hard thing to say no to Madonna.
Well, look,
even if you are Dennis Rodman.
Well, what the thing is that Steve Carfino actually asked him how did he come across these people, and the people were drawn to him. Come and lecture. I mean, he was married to her for a few years. He did say last night, he talked about cheating on her and things like that. No, well, that's what Steve was obviously probing. So, but look, fascinating life beyond basketball, beyond any person that I can think of in the entertainment world. He crossed sports and a bit of entertainment. I think he did wrestling. He's playing NWA.
That's right. Yeah, I do remember that. Didn't he wrestle against Karl Malone, who was one of his
Well, yeah, I think so. I don't know. I know he actually toured Australia about 7-8 years ago with the NWO, which is a New World Order for all you non-wrestling listeners out there.
I'll have to
check out the word hack. Yes. Look, obviously he's in good shape now. He's being 53 years of age. He was giving a bit of shtick to the others about being a bit fatter now in terms of not the wrestling but the basketballers and some wrestlers that he said they're no longer with us, they passed away, unfortunately. So, but look, that's a bit of last night in this one. So fantastic to meet the NBA legend. He's 5-time NBA champion. Yeah, what a night. And just beyond, his life is beyond bizarre and strange and probably not more. But like he said, he goes, this is all truth. It's all him. It is what it is. And
he lived his life to the fullest. And if you remember when he played, he had blonde hair and green hair and red hair, and he had the piercings and one of the first players to get the tattoos. And he probably really brought, as you say, the entertainment into the game. Probably helped sell a few tickets along the way and probably helped make the league a lot of money.
Inspired a few future stars since then, especially with tattoos and a bit outrageous.
Well, is there an NBA player these days that doesn't have a tattoo?
Or an AFL player, mind you.
Well, there you go.
He's transcended the. And he said that. He was, nobody was like him. And, things changed. So, that's a bit of the life of Dennis Rodman from last night through.
Well, a good insight because we don't often get people like that here. So, it's great that he was able to come out.
Yeah, definitely. Got a photo with the man, got signed Guernsey, there was hundreds of people there lining up. So, but I think he did a party on last night. That's for sure. He mentioned something about strip clubs. So, he did actually say that.
53. He's still married.
Well, he's not. He says he's not in that a lot. He's not married, so mate.
Best of luck to him.
Best of luck, good old Dennis. So, well, Travis, I think that's a wrap for us for this, I guess, inaugural.
The first one.
First show already. Yeah, Ozsports. Yeah, well, I can't believe it. Hopefully the listeners out there have enjoyed our commentary on some of the topics and the recap of some major events. A lot has happened in the last few months.
Yeah, it has, and there's plenty happening still. Obviously, as we talked about, there's plenty still going on here in the next couple of months, and we'll certainly do it to keep you as up to date as we can with all that happening.
Yeah, definitely. So look, hear out for us in Ozsports FM. So now, obviously, you can check us out on our webpage, so www.ozsportsonline.com, and also the Facebook page. Just search for ozsports.online, and also Twitter is ozsportsonline. So obviously, check out our podcast there.
Check it out, download it, tell your friends.
That's it. Tell the whole world this is the greatest sports radio show ever.
But that you've ever heard.
Yeah, that's right. Travis and Vlad will just we're simply awesome, aren't we? We'll try our best. So, but look, thanks for listening, and
it's been fun. Yeah,
definitely been fun for the third show, and next week.
Next week,
yeah.